Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. I got another Master Duel video for you. So we're coming back to Purrely. I have actually not been back to this deck for a hot minute. I didn't even really realize it until a comment pointed out relatively recently, but I actually haven't played this deck since before Kashtira came out. That was not only the last time I did a deck profile for it, but it's also the last time I even played this deck. So yeah, figured we would come back to it. Good time as any at the top of the season here. And you'll notice right off the bat that I am not on the Ghost Trick build. The main reason that I'm not playing the Ghost Trick package here is because that would be another, like, I think at least 3, but I think it's actually 5 URs that I would need to craft for that, and I'm not enough of a Purrely main to invest those materials for this deck. Not to say that that package is bad, I do think it is good, and if I were a Purrely main, I would definitely test it out, but I'm not, so I'm just going to stick with a more standard build so we can practice with the deck, cover the deck, and still, you know, cover what I think is a very solid build overall. So in lieu of playing like a Ghost Trick package, we get to actually play more tech cards. Particularly, I'm playing 2 Droll Knockbird as well as 3 Triple Tactics Talent. Now, I actually initially had Thrust in here, but the reason that I wanted Thrust was to set Purrelyeap, but I was thinking more about it, and it's like, you know, Purrelyeap is already so searchable. It's not hard at all to find this card off of, like with Purrely, right? Like, it's not hard to, like, have access to My Friend and then use that to get your quick play spell and then go for the Purrely. So you know, a lot of times it's good to search the field spell there, but it's also very good to search Purrelyeap a lot of the time. Purrelyeap is also excavatable off of Purrely, so I thought maybe instead of playing Thrust, I would just triple down on my Triple Tactics Talent. And I've talked about doing this in other decks before, and I think Purrely is a deck where you would want to do this, right? Because, like, the other thing too is that Purrely is already a very consistent deck, so you don't necessarily need to search spell and trap cards like you might in something like Mathmech or maybe just other decks in general that like using Thrust, like a Grass 60 card deck that's trying to search the Grass, or Branded that's trying to search Branded Fusion. Like, we already have such easy access to our mainline plays that all Thrust is really doing is, again, maybe occasionally making it easier to find deep or setting Imperm or Talents. And Talents is still a very, very high impact card in this metagame. I am such a huge fan of this card. Like, when it came to trying out, there was a minute where I was trying out a bunch of different, like, various techs in general for decks like Triple Tactics Talent, Evenly, Kaiju's, Dark Ruler No More to see what I like best, and Triple Tactics Talent has always stood head and above the rest for me, just because it's good going first or second. You have a variety of powerful effects to choose from that all also fit different situations, right? Like if you're going first, or if you are anticipating that you're going to have to play through whatever your opponent's got in hand, then you can rip from their hand. If you just need to break their board or make it easier to OTK, you can steal their stuff. And if neither is the case and you just need some extra resources, you can always draw to. And it's very easy for this card to be live, not hard at all. And the other thing too is with Purrely, even if the card isn't live, we can always just discard it off of one of the quick play spells, right? So in that regard, this deck can get away with some cute tech a little bit more easily than other meta decks might be able to. We're also playing Droll Knockbirds because this card is also very good against the meta. It is also a level 1 monster, so it has some like applications in that regard, right? Like, you can normal summon this and link it off for an Anima, or you can normal summon this and then use a quick play spell for a Purrely and then go into one of your rank ones. Effect Failure is another good tech with the same application, right, as a level 1 monster. However, I am maxing out on Infinte Impermanences instead because here's the thing, right? In a deck with, like, Heat Soul, for example, like Mathmech, I prefer the Veilers. And you might be thinking, well, if the Expurrely Noir has the Sleeping Memories, isn't the same principle? Don't we want the Veilers over the Imperms? The thing is, Heat Soul is something we can more consistently end on than necessarily setting up a bunch of Sleeping Memories under Noir and or Plump, right? And it's not like, I mean, obviously it's something we do when we can, it's something we want to do, but it's not like Heat Soul where you can, like, reliably end on it pretty much every single turn 1 if you want to, right? And in that regard, like, I do tend to think that Imperm is better than Veiler in a vacuum. Now here, again, not only do we have the prospect of Sleeping Memory kind of pushing it over the edge of Imperm, but also the fact that it's level 1. But ultimately, I decided to just stick with the 3 Imperms anyway. Like I said, we already have the Droll and Lockbird. That's also a level 1 kind of hand trap tech slot. I'm also playing Kashtira Fenrirs. I've maintained pretty much since this deck has come out that Fenrirs are better than the Dark World package, in my opinion. Not that I think the Dark World package is bad, and decks that are playing the Dark World package, Purrely decks, can certainly experience a good deal of success. However, I think Fenrir is not only trying to fill the same niche of having extra cards in hand to discard, but is also a very threatening and relevant body on the board as well, which is why I tend to prefer it over the Dark Worlds. It's also fewer cards, right? I mean, you can get away with only playing like 2 Brow or something, or like Snow and Brow or whatever, but I know I've seen builds that play like 1 Brow, 1 Shaddoll Beast. But I don't know. I just prefer the Fenrir. It's got more application, in my opinion. So, otherwise, this is a very standard build. I mean, most Purrely decks are like, you know, 3 of all the relevant Purrely cards, plus 1 Yeep, 1 or 2 Yeep, plus 1 or 2 Field Spell. I have 2 Field Spell because opening it with it is very good. And you're just never sad to see it, honestly. Very powerful card. The target protection is insane, even if it's only for 1 turn. You just gotta watch that it's only for special summoned Purrelys. That is actually something that's gonna come up in one of our upcoming duels here. And then the extra deck, also extremely standard. I don't think there's really anything outstanding here that I'm doing. Yeah, just very standard stuff. Alright, let's go ahead and break the list down card by card, and then we'll see some gameplay. So we are on 2 Droll and Lockbird, 3 Purrely, 3 Purrelyly, 3 Maxx, 3 Ash Blossom and a Joyous Spring, 2 Kashtira Fenrir, 3 Triple Tactics Talent, 2 Stray Purrely Street, 3 My Friend Purrely, 3 Epurrely Happy Memory, 3 Purrely Pretty Memory, 3 Purrely Delicious Memory, 3 Purrely Sleepy Memory, 3 Infinte Impermanence, and then 1 Purrelyeap. For the extra deck, we are on 1 Sylvan Princessprout, 1 Lyrilusc, a symbol Nightingale, 1, oh my god, Kikinagashi Fucho? I think I said that right. I'm almost sure that I didn't, actually, but you know which card I mean. Epurrely Happiness, we got 2 of those, 2 Epurrely Beauty, 2 Epurrely Plump, 1 Downerd Magician, 2 Expurrely Noir, 1 Divine Arsenal AA-ZEUS Sky Thunder, 1 Relinquished Anima, and then finally 1 Sky Striker Ace Azelea. That's going to do it for our list. Let's see some gameplay now. Alright, we're going to see our first game is going to be against Draco Slayers. A nice little pendulum deck. Haven't run into that for a minute here, so we're going to be taking the second turn, and we open up pretty well here, going in second. Actually, very well. We got the Imperm, we have 2 Droll and Lockbird, we also have Purrely and My Friend. So this is like, you know, this is what you want to see going second for Purrely, right? Got a couple pieces of gas to extend our plays, slash make them in the first place, and we also have a good amount of disruption here. Between Droll and Imperm, I'm feeling very confident that pretty much no matter what deck my opponent's on, I can stop whatever they're up to, so. Unless like stun or something, but they do reveal themselves very quickly to be the Draco Slayer deck, however. The Master Pendulum can pop the Ignis in the other zone, which will allow them to special summon some Draco Slayers and also, I think, add some cards too. Oh, they special the Majesty Pegasus, which allows them to add the field spell, or a field spell. It's any field spell. Wow, I didn't even realize that. I should have though, because yeah, they grabbed Sky Iris, which is definitely not a Magispector card. Or a Majesty, or a Draco Slayer card, rather, cheese. I always mix up all these Pendulum archetypes, because they tend to run together, but kind of like Cyber Stacks a little bit. But yeah, no, this is a pretty easy draw on Lockbird, because the Sky Iris wants to do more searching, so they even discard Ash Blossom, which is so good against this hand. So opponent has a call by for the Droll and Lockbird, but here's the thing, I can just chain the other one. So the thing about Droll and Lockbird, a couple things to know about it that are very particular to this interaction. One, it's not once per turn. This card is not once per turn. Good old 2013 card design. But to be fair, it's not really an effect that you would think would need a once per turn because it lingers for the whole turn. And 2, that's actually the other point I want to bring up. You might be thinking, oh, well, you'll chain the second Droll to the called by here, right? But won't that just mean that the Droll will get negated because the call by will negate the first one? And the answer is no. Because call by, yes, it does negate the activated effects and effects of monsters on the field with the same name for the next 2 turns. However, the second Droll and Lockbird, once it's resolved, it is no longer an activated effect. The effect has resolved. The lingering effect that applies for the whole turn. And on top of that, it's not a monster on the field, so there's no concern about that. So the call by on the first one will not stop the second one from applying here, right? So in a way, opening 2 Droll was actually perfect here because it allowed us to play through the call by. And yeah, the opponent really only has the option to go into 1 rank 4 here, and they're going for the Bagooska, and thankfully I have the Imperm. This game was wild. Like, not only did we go second and open a very good hand, our hand is actually literally perfectly crafted against our opponent's hand. It's as if God himself came down and saw my opponent's hand and then turned to me and was like, I got you, bro. So, we Imperm the Bagooska. I Purrely lead for Yeep here because I already had the My Friend, and my opponent doesn't have anything on the field that would threaten to target me, so in that regard, I don't feel the need to add the field spell here. Opponent is going to concede at that. It is worth noting that we don't have like an OTK or anything because we do have such relatively few resources. So with this kind of a hand, I guess the best thing to do, I don't know, there are a couple ways you could have done it. You could have set up an Expurrely Noir, you could have set up a Zeus. The Zeus would have wiped both the Pendulum Scales, but at the same time would also wipe your own My Friend as well. There is also the, considering the Expurrely Noir. I don't know, there's like a ton of consideration there, but the Maxx draw was also not great at all. That was actually probably one of the, I don't know if it's one of the worst draws in our deck there, but it's definitely not a good one, so. Probably would have gotten discarded off, well, you know what, I guess to be fair, how we would have played would have very much depended on what we excavated off the regular Purrely, so we can speculate all we want, but it would have come down to that at the end of the day. In any case, let's go ahead and see our next duel here. And our next duel is going to be against Labyrinth. I would definitely expect to see both the deck that I'm playing and the deck I'm playing against as the vast majority of which you're probably going to run into on ladder. I mean, you'll probably still run into a lot of Kashtira as well, honestly. Like, even if the deck has underperformed in tournament and Duelist Cup results lately, like, people are still going to be on it. So, speaking of Kashtiras, we're going to open with Fenrir. Then I'm going to go ahead and use Sleeping Memory here. Opponent's going to Maxi in response. We not only have the Ash Blossom for it, but we also have the Triple Tactics talent as well. So, this is like such a good opening here. Opponent is immediately very far behind. So we already have the My Friend, so I'll be using the Purrelyly to add the Yeep. I'm not worried about targeting because I get to look at my opponent's hand here with the triple attack, and if there's something that targets that's threatening my board here, I can just get rid of it. So, looking at our opponent's hand, we confirm that they are in fact on Labyrinth. The opponent is actually attacking one of the new cards on the latest selection pack for Labyrinth. That's Wannabe. Wannabe, a pretty good card actually for any trap-based deck. So I think it's better than the backpack, Sky Jack Atlas thing or whatever. Yeah, it's a cute card. Cute in both art and also a very cute tech card. Opponent's also rocking Ariana and Double Welcome Lab. So whenever I'm looking at a hand for triple attack and deciding what to put back, or in any hand rip where I get to look at the opponent's hand and decide, right? I like to work backwards as far as deciding what I want to put back. So I like to start with things that are definitely fine for my opponent to keep. In this case, my opponent has 2 Welcome Labs, so putting one of them back is completely pointless. So we can already eliminate those 2. Between Ariana and Wannabe, I mean, this seems pretty obvious to me. The Ariana can not only grab a specific trap card, but also a Labyrinth monster like a Coup Clock that could help trigger these Welcome Labs. And Wannabe just has a random chance to excavate a spell or a trap card. So we're definitely going to be putting back the Ariana here for sure. Alright, My Friend is coming down. We're going to go ahead and use the My Friend to add ourselves a Delicious Memory. Well, reveal 3 copies of it, which will in turn add it. So here I'm going to activate Delicious, but not discard because I do need the Yeep in order to make the Noir. We'll use Delicious targeting Fenrir because Fenrir is going to remain on the field. Now we get to go into the Plump with the Purrelyly. I get to activate the Plump's effect. We'll go ahead and attach the Sleeping Memory and the Triple Attack, and then we'll set the Yeep and then pass. Opponent is going to Wannabe during the end phase, revealing Lovely, Ariana, and Ash Blossom. Nice trap deck, friend. And yeah, before I even really have a chance to do anything, opponent is just going to concede here. So, but, you know, for those who are less familiar with Purrely, what the follow-up would have been to, on the either draw or standby phase, after we draw off of Sleepy Memory, activate Plump's quick effect, attach more materials from the graveyards to itself. Then after that, we get to flip the Purrelyeap and go into an Expurrely Noir that will then be unaffected. And we'll also get another draw off the Sleepy Memory. So, 2 draws, we get our Noir, we have the Fenrir. We know the opponent has 2 Welcome Lab and 1 Unknown. That's obviously very easy to deal with the Noir. We can just put him back, and just duel is just pretty much over, which hence the opponent conceding. So definitely got a couple more games to check out, though. Let's go ahead and see the next one here. Alright, now this duel will be longer than the previous 2 as far as turn count goes. We are going to be playing against Kashtira this time around. It's a rather interesting Kashtira build. Lots of 1-of techs in it. We're going to be taking the second turn here, and yeah, we got an Ash Blossom as well as a bunch of relevant cards here, so not sad at all to see this hand. Opponent's going to Unicorn. I will allow the Surge to grab Birth and not Theosis, so they're going to summon and activate the Pathfinder. I will use Ash Blossom on this, so I was thinking to myself, right, okay, if they added Birth, they very likely have Theosis, but there is also the chance they were using the Unicorn Search to test for Ash Blossom, and might be depending on the Rate Soth Search in order to make their plays. So I figured I would use the Ash Blossom here. Plus, even if they do have Theosis in hand, it's still, I think... Well, no, I don't know. It's kind of like, it's weird. If they have Theosis in hand, then it is probably better to Ash the Theosis. But they also have Birth, so it probably doesn't matter that much. I don't know. I just thought this would be the safer option, so I went ahead and did it. It would be much riskier, but also potentially better to wait for the Theosis here. So they're going to take one of my Expurrely Noirs and then summon a Rise Heart. So I know they have Birth and 2 Unknowns in hand. Here's the Birth, which they are activating in order to get back that Fenrir they just banished. So actually, it doesn't look like they have Theosis, but because they had Rise Heart plus Birth, they were able to go into pretty much their whole line anyway. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah. Well, not the whole line, because we don't have the Rise Heart out just yet, although that might be coming. No, it doesn't. Okay. It's just Ira, Cassir, Scareclaw, and Fenrir. So, honestly, given that my opponent ended up not having Theosis, that was the best Ash Blossom. And it does make me glad that I didn't take that chance. So, again, with the Ash Blossom there, I think you could make an argument either way, with the safe option being hitting the Pathfinder and the risky option waiting to see if they have a Theosis. And here the safe option happened to have paid out. Now, if they'd had the Theosis, they would have Theosis on Unicorn for Fenrir, added the Rise Heart. Then they could have Shangri-Ira'd and then also made a Rise Heart as well. So it's like, you know, it's always a toss-up. Drawing a second Epurrely for a turn, that is probably the worst possible draw in our entire deck, but I will go ahead and normal summon it nevertheless, adding a straight Epurrely Street. That was honestly just a misplay. For some reason, I thought I already had My Friend in hand, so that should have been a My Friend Purrely there, for sure. And opponent is using Unicorn to take out the other Noir, which I don't know that I understand, because my plan already was to go into a Zeus here and just take care of this board, right? So, yeah, my opponent taking the second Noir is 100% fine. This Birth Banish is a little annoying, but ultimately 100% fine as well, because I'm not planning on making plays with Purrelyly this turn anyway. And our Purrely is a very good kitty, finding us. It could have been, like, pretty much any Purrely spell except for Sleepy, but... Okay, so here I actually misplayed again, but my 2 misplays combined into a good play. So, what I should have done was use Purrely to reveal the Pretty Memory in my hand to go into Beauty, rather than activating it for the second Purrely and then excavating. I guess my thought process here was that I could maybe go for Princessprout and try to excavate as well. Like, this was, I don't know, this was a bit of a risky play. Actually, I should have gone for Princessprout, because I don't end up going for that now that I think about it. But anyway, I'm going to use the Purrely, and lo and behold, this is where other misplay ends up being okay, because we found My Friend off of our second Purrely anyway, the best kitty in the world here. So, it's okay if you misplay, you just have to get really lucky. No, that's not the actual moral or lesson I'm teaching here. This game, I will say, in my defense, was also played on stream, so I do tend to be a little bit more distracted on stream sometimes. Like here, I definitely should have made Princessprout, tried to excavate again, and then battled into the Fenrir and taken, you know, 600 damage instead of 3,000 and gotten a free excavate. But honestly, it's not going to really matter, because we still get to Zeus. We get to wipe our opponent's entire board. They're in pretty much entirely top deck mode, and we have a ton of follow-up for the next turn here. Yeah, opponent's going to have to ultimately go draw pass, so going to draw into a Delicious, slamming down the My Friend. We're going to activate My Friend's effect, and the opponent has an Ash Blossom for us. So here, I know that with what I have in hand, I'm not going to be able to do an additional 6,000 damage plus the 3k of Zeus on board. So there's no point to playing Delicious here, I think. I'm just going to switch Zeus to attack mode, enter battle, and then pass. I don't want to commit more to the board when I might need to board wipe again. But yeah, no, opponent is still not able to top deck anything relevant. Again, they are on Kashtira, and not only that, but they are also playing a lot of one-of techs. So, to be fair, my opponent is not the most likely to be top decking anything that'll be able to get them out of this here. And I mean, even if they did have, like, what is a top deck that could get them out of a Zeus wipe plus my follow-up, right? And here they're going to Maxx in response to the Delicious, which, I don't know, I guess is a little bit annoying, but not a big deal at all. Yeah, I'm just going to go for plays anyway. And that'll end up doing it for this duel. So, Hate Mikanko ultimately is going to fall, not to Mikanko, but to Purrely. Oh my god, that's annoying when it has the summon sound. I'm going to quickly just go to the next game here. And our final opponent here for this video is going to be on Scareclaw. Scareclaw Kashtira, not the card, but the archetype. Although it only plays really like a minor Kashtira engine. This deck is on the rise. In my latest tier list, I labeled this deck, my opponent's deck rather, as the top tier 3 deck of the meta. And it might even be a tier 2 deck at this point. So, opponent's going to Ash Blossom on the Purrely, which is a really interesting Ash Blossom choice. I don't think it's 100% wrong, but I don't think it's right either. I usually just save it for the My Friend. I think that tends to be correct almost every time, but I can understand why my opponent would want to do it on Purrely here, because sometimes you Ash the Purrely and your opponent just has to end their turn. I think my opponent was maybe banking on that here, but also kind of interesting I get to do it this way. I get to make the Plump with not the Purrelyly, but the Purrely. And then my plan here is to use the Purrelyly. Well, my plan was to use the Purrely on the Pretty memory to make a Beauty as well. But if I did that, my Plump wouldn't be able to get to 5 materials. So I'm going to have to end on the Noir instead. Okay, so now my plan is pretty much to just kind of sit on this Noir and, yeah, drawing Maxi casually, you know, no big deal. But it's going to summon Scareclaw Asra, and then link it off for the Lightheart. So my whole thing with Noir is, like, I don't like to use it unless... Okay, so here actually, I want to talk about this Droll for a second. I'll talk about Noir in a moment, but I want to talk about this Droll here. You might be thinking, Hex, why would you Droll when you've just Maxied? And I was thinking about the position that I'm in here, where they just added a card that I know also needs to add another card, right? And I have an Expurrely Noir, and as I was just about to say about Expurrely Noir, I find a lot of the time where people tend to misplay and then lose with Purrely is they fire off the Noir's effect in a situation where they don't need to. Like, I think it behooves you more often than not to just sit on this for as long as you can, and unless your opponent is about to, like, put enough monsters on the board to go for an Underworld Goddess, or set up some other kind of out, like a card that can search an out or something like that, or like setting a face down card that is a trap card that might be an out. Like, I don't think that you should be firing off the Expurrely Noir again unless the Noir is directly about to get threatened. Now, a lot of the times, like Kaijus and stuff, it's hard to know if they have that. And if they have that, they have that, right? If they have a Kaiju, they're going to be able to eat it no matter what. But this also plays around Kurikara Divine Incarnate, which is becoming a popular tech against both this deck and against Kashtira, right? If your opponent's got the Kurikara and you don't activate the Noir, they can't tribute the Noir because it hasn't activated its effect. So that's also, again, that's part of why I Drolled here, because I figured to myself, okay, they can't search off the field spell, they will be very unlikely to have more plays following that. And even if they do have more plays, can they actually out the Noir? So that's why I drolled, even though I just drew off of Maxx. Or just activated Maxx, rather. Well, and also just drew off it, so. They will ultimately get to pop my spell, and unfortunately for me, they already had the right card and devices in hand, which was actually very unlucky for me. I was exactly trying to stop the search for the level 4 monster, the right card, and for them to, again, not only have that, but also the AZEUS, which allows them to go into the Chaos Angel. Again, super unlucky. Let's see, here I am going to just set the Purrelyyeap and then pass. Opponent is going to Arrival. I do have an Ash Blossom, so I really should have used it against it. Oh no, I don't think I can actually. Yeah, there was some reason. Hang on, I'm trying to think. Oh, is it because of no, that's Synchro Monsters. Hang on, there's got to be some secret effect here that's stopping me from being able to chain to their stuff. Because I remember thinking during the duel that for whatever reason, I couldn't chain Ash Blossom or Imperm to the right card effect, so I really wanted to negate that, but instead we use Imperm on the Chaos Angel in response to it getting threatened to be destroyed. Or maybe I just missed my opportunity and I'm just dumb. I don't know. But anyway, they're going to grab another field spell here, which I'm like, this is fine, I can just negate the field spell itself, but then they go for the Tryhard. Now I'm like, oh, the field spell is the least of my issues, so Tryhard's going to try to bring back the Asra here, and now I'm going to use Ash Blossom. Turns out my opponent had Call By, so not using Ash Blossom ultimately didn't matter, but yeah, I should have tried to negate that right card. I don't know what was going on with that. I actually, hang on, now that I'm thinking about this, I don't think it was a hidden effect that was stopping me. I think I was in the moment thinking of using Ash Blossom against Tryhard. Oh, and that's right, I wanted to save my Imperm for Chaos Angel to get rid of it, because there wasn't going to be another way that I really could. That's what it was. Okay. I got greedy. I got really greedy, which caused me to throw this game, pretty much. It's ultimately what happened here. Yeah, the Call By against the Ash Blossom will allow the Tryhard to resolve, not only bringing back the Astra, but allowing them to add in some Acro. The Scareclaw Kashtira is really scary, because that directly threatens the Expurrely Noir. Expurrely Noir is unaffected by activated effects, but the Scareclaw Kashtira effect to negate something is not an activated effect, so I'm going to use it against the Scareclaw, but ultimately that's not going to save me from getting OTK'd by the Tryhard here. Oh, what it was is I can't respond to the Tryhard battling with Nora's effect. That's what I thought I was going to be able to do that I couldn't. So, yeah, this deck, very scary. No pun intended, actually, at all. That was kind of funny. But it's definitely also on its way up on the tier list, in my opinion. Might even break into tier 2. We'll just have to see how the format ends up playing out. But that is going to go ahead and do it for this video, so let's now move to our outro. Alright everybody, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching it all the way to the very end. That means a whole lot to me, and it's also a fantastic way to support the channel. And if you're interested in supporting the channel in other ways besides YouTube, there are plenty of ways to do that. If you check out the description below, you'll find a bunch of links down there. One of them goes to my Patreon. You're actually seeing the names of everyone subscribed to the Patreon on the screen right now. So if you're interested in getting your name in the credits here at the end, if you want to see more daily Master Duel content, or if you're interested in one-on-one private coaching sessions, I offer all of that on Patreon. I also stream live on Twitch. Feel free to go ahead and click that link and follow and or subscribe there. I also have the Discord community, if you want to follow that link, where hundreds of duelists have already signed up. Free to join, and you can just come hang out, talk about the game, and chill in general. Final link that's going to be in the description is my Twitter. You can follow that if you want some more notifications of what's happening with the channel. So, all in all, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day.